During more than 50 years, the presence of Don Bosco has gradually penetrated into the lives and activities of the people of Vietnam. A piece of land greatly damaged by weapons used in the anti-foreign invasion war, as well as the following 20-year civil war. This presence has been a positive contribution to compensate the losses, to repair the ruins, lessen the wounds, form humans capable of re-establishing and building up a more beautiful Vietnam in the future. The contribution of the Salêdiêng in Vietnam is not aiming at gaining material and economic profits, but at realizing the human and spiritual education for the youth, the most essential human part of society and the future leaders of Vietnam.
In the year 1954, 2 years after the arrival of the first Salêdiêng at Hanoi, North Vietnam, the missionaries of Don Bosco followed the immigrants southwards. During the following 20-year civil war, they have succeeded in some way in adapting themselves dynamically into the lives of a poor third world country, overloaded with a terrible war which has caused a high number of mortalities, as well as totally blocked the ways to development. With extraordinary efforts, Salesian missionaries founded a quite modern technical school, 2 houses for aspirants, which were also 2 secondary schools to educate youngsters, 1 novitiate, and 1 philosophical theological institute to form future Salesians. Their works gradually took shape and brought valuable fruits to the youth of this country. The 1975 political event has made Vietnam a socialist country, with communism influencing and controlling all levels and aspects of life. This was a period really difficult and causing lots of tension for the Salesian works and services. First was the compulsory departure of foreign missionaries. Schools and religious educational institutes were confiscated. Parishes were the only legal environment for religious to survive and to serve. So, right from the end of 1975, our converts have been scattered from big communities into small, far and remote parishes, looking for new ways of services, especially for the sake of the poor populace, to contact the young and to educate them according to the Salesian spirit. Living more than 3 decades in the midst of their countrymen, Vietnamese Salesians have learned the way to be compassionate with others in their concrete difficulties, to share anxieties and crises of the local churches, and they have continued to promote new initiatives both to assure their survival and formation and to serve poor youth in parishes with activities difficult to be found elsewhere in the world. In the parishes where they served, the Salesians did not work alone, but always encouraged and facilitated the cooperation of the faithful, especially the young, into various activities of the parish. Many places in the 4 dioceses of Saigon, Xuân Lộc, Đà Lạt and Hanoi have been enriched with sacrifices and contributions of the Salesians. With the blessing from God, today we are enjoying rich fruits of those hard days. For the moment, the Salêdiêng province has 250 conferers present in more than 30 places, scattered in many dioceses throughout Vietnam. In addition to this, the province has started to establish the Association for Vietnamese Cooperators with an ever-increasing number. Meanwhile, it tries to gather and strengthen groups of Salesian past pupils. Together with these, the increased number of VDB Vietnam and over 100 FMA sisters has made the presence of Don Bosco in Vietnam to be a remarkable force to serve the young and the poor populace here in this dear part of the world. When the political situation was more open, the conference have thought of creating oratories as an open ambience even for non-Catholic youth, fit to provide them with an education rich in human values through various attractive activities. To help the young, especially the poorest and the most abandoned ones, to adapt themselves efficaciously into society has been always a concern of first priority for the Vietnamese Salesians. For years, despite so many difficulties and obstacles, they have opened and maintained unofficial and small-scale professional workshops. Today, after a long-term and persistent await and preparation, the province is allowed to open 2 big professional centers, one at Bảo Lộc, Lâm Đồng, and the other at Bà Rịa, Vũng Tàu. In many other provinces, the municipal governments are providing appropriate conditions for the Salesian presence and services in the professional sector. The services of the Vietnamese Salesians have been focusing not only on Viets, which are of the majority of the population, but also on the ethnic minority who live in the missionary territories. While evangelizing them, the Salesians have engaged themselves in improving the lives, protecting their culture, cultivating and developing the original culture tradition of these people. Furthermore, in the last recent years, the province has sent a good number of brothers to take part in the missionary movement of the congregation in the world. Particularly, it is assigned to cultivate and develop the missionary work at Mongolia. The testimony of the consecrated life and educational apostolate has attracted a good number of aspirants for religious vocation. For the moment, the province is running 5 centers for vocations with 300 pre-postulants, most of whom are attending universities or colleges. Such a number is providing the province 40 postulants and about 30 novices each year. This profound aspiration from the part of the youth and the inspirational guidance from the part of the Salesians, under the grace of God, is providing a good future for the inheritance of the Salesian charism of Don Bosco in Vietnam. In addition to this, in the mentality of the majority of Catholic families here, to have one of its members to be consecrated to God is a highly precious grace which God grants to few privileged families. In fact, it's for them a great honor. This conviction has become a strong motivation for many youth, both male and female, to engage themselves in following Christ to serve others. It's impossible to get high quality for the services without mature and holy conference, those who are seriously engaging themselves in the education of the youth. With continual efforts to overcome difficulties, the province has always tried its best to fulfill the obligations of formation of the young conference. High quality of the formation in all its aspects, intellectual, religious spirit, fervor in realizing the common mission has been always of first priority of Vietnamese Salesians. From stages of postulancy, novitiate, post-novitiate, to the stages of assistance, observation formation and specification. These periods are not only done here in Vietnam, but also abroad. Deeply under the services rendered in various parishes, oratories, professional centers, small career training workshops, missionary spots, lies the pastoral charity, a reality which renders the Salesians good and engaging shepherds, filled with self-sacrificing dedication and with firm resolution of Don Bosco, ready to do all to help the young and to save their souls. Besides all that have been done and could be done, there are still present two big challenges which the Vietnamese Salesians have to confront. They painfully experience the fact that in one way, the young has been greatly damaged by an atheistic materialism with a style of living without God and religion. In another way, under the influence of the phenomenon of globalization, Vietnamese youth is contacting with a consuming existentialism culture, in which the tendency to adore bodily pleasures is enormously increasing and terribly damaging spiritual values in the young. In such an ambience, the Salesians, with the loving kind heart of Don Bosco, find that there are still so many works to be done to save the youth. A few minutes sketchy presentation could not give satisfactory data about a reality so rich, so various and complicated with all its strengths and challenges. However, in the spirit of fraternal communion, we wish in a few words to talk about ourselves and the services of the Salesians of Don Bosco here in Vietnam, so that we could get the compassion, the loving concern and the support, both spiritual and material, of the Salesians here in the Asian regions as well as everywhere else in the world.